Welcome to Your In Depth, where we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes or something. We're covering the Clone Wars today. What do you think of our intro? This is part of the episode. I'm going to keep it in. I don't care. But, do you think we still walk through and break it down, or are we just discussing our favorite fictional universes? We kind of changed up our format a little bit.
I think we're still walking through, but it's not quite. It's not quite point by point by point by point. We're still going through the
It
events
still
of the
applies.
episodes.
You think
I
it
think
still
so.
applies?
I think so.
Okay, well that was my primary thing. Anyway, yeah, Clone Wars today. uh Season 3, episode 18 through 20 is going to be the what was it named? The Citadel.
The
Prison
Citadel
Break.
arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one
So-
of my more favorite arcs within the show. This is one that I really enjoyed. Unlike
Okay.
certain other ones, some of which have been discussed already.
Yeah. So real quick, the one that we're talking about, if you don't remember, I got a quick little 2-line summary here. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka and a team of clones infiltrate the Separatist prison known as the Citadel to rescue Jedi Master Even Piell. Or is it Evan?
Even
Even
Piell.
Evan? Even Piell.
Yeah.
I always forget if it's been a while, I forget the pronunciation, especially if it's not a common character. And even then, sometimes I screw it up. It doesn't matter. And recover vital hyperspace information. Along the way, the arc explores the growing divide between Jedi ideals and Tarkin's ruthless military philosophy, while foreshadowing Anakin's eventual fall to the dark side. Evan, what makes this one of your more favorite arcs?
I thoroughly enjoyed this arc. It's high stakes. It's, prison break. There's plenty of action within the episode. There's good story building within the episode. There's emotional moments, or I say episode, I mean arc, because it's a 3-episode arc. But there's just all these different points that this arc hits. Like I said, you get the action, you get emotional moments, you get the story building, you get, like you said, kind of hints to the future, foreshadowing. And unlike some arcs within Clone Wars, there's actual stakes at risk here within this arc. Because the whole main point of this arc is, Even Piell and Tarkin both have half of the coordinates to a hyperspace route that connects the main worlds of the Republic and the Confederacy, or the Separatists. And so whichever side gets those coordinates gets a huge, bump up in the war. And, with Even Piell and Tarkin and the rest of their surviving, crew being at the Citadel, if the Separatists get this, Palpatine, obviously, as we know, is manipulating the war on both sides, but if the Separatists get this, what's to stop someone like, I don't know, Newt Gunray or maybe even General Grievous from going off the reservation and launching an attack of their own on the Republic, It's just all of that stuff kind of mashed together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was an interesting answer from you, because I feel like usually when I am commenting on something, I am looking at it from the storytelling perspective, and you're more so like the things that happened within the story. So to hear you talk about the structure of it and the key components was kind of interesting. So,
Yeah,
not in a bad way.
I
cool.
mean, even with that, there are just moments in the episode that are super awesome as well. Like,
what was one of those that sticks out to you?
I mean, the biggest one for me, it's awesome because it's sad, because it's emotional, and
Mm,
it's the death of Echo, the quote unquote death of Echo in this arc. You know, this is
mm-hmm.
a trooper that we have seen over and over again throughout the Clone Wars thus far. Echo was I say was is a fan favorite for a lot of people within Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
and so just his death and his attempt at heroics and trying to save his brothers, trying to get the mission accomplished. I mean, just that whole battle, and then some of the fallout from that. That we see even later on in the Clone Wars into season 7 of the Clone Wars when it comes back up again. I think it's just a really good. Because it's not just one specific scene; it's a really good battle within the arc as a whole. Yeah.
I see. Um, I have a few discussion questions for you about some things in this. But actually, our sponsor for the episode ties right into the first one, so I'm going to play that first, and then we can get on with discussing. This episode is sponsored by the Tarkin Tactical Leadership Academy, helping future officers overcome weaknesses like empathy, hesitation, and concern for clone casualties. At TTLA, you'll learn advanced intimidation, efficient sacrifice ratios, and how to silently judge Jedi for caring too much. It is here that you'll have access to Tarkin's most popular seminar, How to Win Wars Without Morals. So enroll today, because compassion is inefficient.
Old Tarkin.
Yeah. So,
I bet he's going places.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is Tarkin actually wrong about the Jedi? Or does he simply take pragmatism too far?
Yes and yes. Well, actually, no and yes, because he's not wrong about the Jedi. Tarkin comments multiple times about the Jedi's inefficiency in leading a war.
Mm-hmm.
Right, throughout this episode. And especially early on in the Clone Wars, you see it a lot more. I mean, a key example is the first Battle of Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. This is not the Old Republic where Jedi were fighting a prolonged war over decades against a Sith Empire and were well versed in large scale battles and tactical decisions and strategic planning on that sort of scale.
Mm-hmm.
And so like something like the first Battle of Geonosis, a lot of clones and even Jedi died during that battle because of the Jedi's lack in large scale battle experience. And I feel like you do see it over and over again in the Clone Wars as well, where Jedi tend to have, and truthfully, I think Anakin is one of the more guilty of this, even though he does deeply care about his troopers, right? I feel like Anakin definitely we see leads these kind of suicide missions or frontal assaults that maybe could have been done better. Another prime example is the second Battle of Geonosis, which we have already covered, when he leads the assault through the energy shield protecting the droid factory. And you just see clone troopers getting picked up by Geonosians and flown off and gunned down, not taking any cover. No support whatsoever. Like, they've got tanks that can move through the energy shield at least enough to give them covering fire and things like this, and they just don't utilize that. So in that regard, I think Tarkin is right. But at the same time, Tarkin, I would say, takes pragmatism too far as well. He sacrifices troopers needlessly himself. And so I feel like he's a little bit of a hypocrite in this. Tarkin doesn't care about the clones. He doesn't care about the troopers under him. He just cares about winning.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's where like Tarkin takes winning too far, whereas the Jedi take compassion too far within a war. So I feel
They
that
need to be willing to make sacrifices in order to get to get ahead, but there's some leeway on how much they can, on what they can save and what they can sacrifice. Whereas, do you think that Tarkin's more so like, if it means winning, screw him?
Yeah. Well, and it's like Tarkin very much, I think, falls under the ends justify the means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he falls under that to extremes. Whereas the Jedi fall under the means have to justify, or the means matter to the end. Right? But again, they take it too far. Where like you said, like you have to have a little bit of give and take. Like there's a certain level of sacrifice that you have to be willing to accept, especially in war, to achieve victory. But if you take that too far, that's where you lose like the loyalty of your men. That's where you lose the support of like the civilian population of the war, and things like that. And so I'm trying to think of someone in Star Wars that would be a good example of kind of like the middle ground. Truthfully, I think the closest thing we could get is the Rebellion. The original trilogy. I feel like the Rebellion's a pretty good indication of leaders, whether they are, whether they have the proper experience to lead or not. I could see some arguments in certain cases for specific characters, but I feel like you do see in the Rebellion against the Empire, there is a certain level of sacrifice. The rebel troops are definitely, they believe in their cause and also they're willing to sacrifice, but they also don't just needlessly throw their troops at a situation to try and achieve victory. They know when to retreat. You see it over and over again in the original trilogy where it's, and even Rogue One, is a good one as well. Towards the end, when they're trying to get the Death Star plans out of there, once they get the plans, they're getting out of there. They're not trying to get this huge victory over an Imperial fleet. They're like, we're getting the plans, we're getting out of here. We are willing to sacrifice this much to get these plans, but we're not going to needlessly throw away lives.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, the Empire throws them, those stormtroopers, they throw those things away like garbage.
Yeah, they throw them like they're nickels out of a little bag at disabled people in your car. You keep that thing and you get ready to wing them. A little bit of a callback. Anyway, yeah. You had mentioned in the Clone Wars the first attack of Geonosis and then the second as well. Do you think that the Jedi were doomed the moment they became generals? Because obviously it kind of goes back to the thing where they are meant to be peacekeepers.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think they were doomed as soon as they became generals. Because again, you have like the Old Republic, where the Jedi did act as officers within the military against like the Sith Empire.
Hmm.
Um, it's definitely an uphill battle, right? to you know to hang on to your beliefs and not fall to corruption and the dark side and all that kind of stuff. Because we definitely have instances of Jedi falling to the dark side because of war. Ponkrell, prime example. you know, uh, but I mean, there's always. I would say there's always a baseline of they can do this while still staying true to their ways. But throwing peacekeepers into war, like I said, I mean, it's just an uphill battle, and you have to be really careful with who you're going to involve in that war. Like, I think there's a certain Jedi within the Republic that should not have been involved in the Clone Wars and should have not been given command.
Mm.
Again, Ponkrell. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just like that's an easy example, you know. But then, of course, there's other Jedi who thrive in it and can still maintain their Jedi philosophies and stuff. Like, again, an easy answer is just Obi-Wan. You know, he maintains his philosophies within the Jedi Order. He maintains his position while still leading effectively, still achieving great victories. But then again, another Jedi that kind of falls short is Anakin. When he leads his troopers, you know, we see him delve into the dark side, and the war definitely helps him delve into the dark side. That opens up that dark place in his mind even more than what it initially was at by the time the Clone Wars kick off.
Mm. And so, okay. It's weird because things have kind of tied together so far with my questions, but how much of Darth Vader can you already see in Anakin during this arc? I want to say this arc alone because obviously it's always foreshadowing it.
Right.
I mean, heck, the movie poster for Phantom Menace. But
Yeah.
with Attack of the Clones, you know, it's like the Tuscans, you definitely see it there. So,
Right.
not his journey so far, but in this arc alone.
I don't think we see Darth Vader as much as a lot of people say in this arc. I think a lot of people take the presence of Tarkin, right, and Tarkin's philosophies and the way he thinks, and just kind of take that and run with it and say, oh, you see a lot of Darth Vader in this. You can see where, you know, Darth Vader acts in a similar way as Tarkin does. You know, Darth Vader believes in similar ways as Tarkin does. But in this arc, there's a couple points where Anakin agrees with Tarkin, right? With like the Jedi not willing to go far enough to win the war. But at the same time, Anakin in this arc rebuffs Tarkin multiple times. You know, like calls Tarkin out on what Tarkin is saying and what he believes. And I think this is an arc where we see Anakin pushing back against what he will eventually become. Now, to great effect, no. But I think he is kind of pushing away, back from it to an extent. And I'm words. Sorry, thinking through my thoughts.
It's fine. Take your time. Keep me waiting. Ah.
Jesus.
I had a Nerf blaster that I was pushing against my head.
Because I just in my I have some discussion questions here as well, and one of them that I have here is how much of Anakin's future Vader personality appears in this arc, and I just saw that one kind of sticking out because obviously it relates to what you asked. I don't think we see a lot of Vader in this arc. Truthfully, we don't, because my mind goes to other arcs where we definitely see Vader come out.
Yeah.
He's pointing his Nerf gun at the camera. Yeah, there's plenty of other episodes and plenty of other arcs where we see Vader come out. You know, right up in our face. You see Anakin delving into the dark side. You know, I don't think this is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that easy enough to say?
Well, I'm just thinking through the course of events within the arc and what he does, what he says.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Read me your discussion questions. Let's not. Yeah, let's just. I wonder what yours are because. Yeah.
Well, there's several of them here, and some of them suck. So let me find a good one. So this one, a little bit of backstory on the Citadel, where this arc takes place, because this is something that I looked up specifically for this episode. So the Citadel itself was originally constructed in 522 BBY.
Okay.
By the Galactic Republic to hold rogue Jedi or dark Jedi, fallen Jedi, whatever you want to call them. And then eventually once the Separatists rise, it falls into the hands of the Separatists, and they use it as like their supermax prison. With that, though, why, for you, Jacob, why does the prison... I feel like why is not a good one. Nope, I don't like this question anymore. So the question, though, is why does the prison being built by the Republic matter thematically?
Oh, because was it? What?
See, here's the problem, though. You ask questions, and I like the questions you ask because they're good questions. And then I sit here and try and find like a good question that I have, and I read them, and I don't know if they're good or not. But in my mind, it's like, well, that one sucks. That one sucks. That one sucks. That one sucks. Like Jacob just asked that one. I wish I could have asked that one.
I don't like that you didn't acknowledge my racist joke.
Yeah, I'm just moving past it.
Not nice. Well, I guess with that, I'll ask another one. So, talking of the Republic and stuff, does this arc make the Republic feel fundamentally different from the future Empire or uncomfortably similar? And for a little bit of example there
Yeah.
between the military tactics, clone sacrifices, harsh survival conditions, and Tarkin's growing influence. This arc starts to blur the line between Republic and Empire. It's one of the clearest examples of how the Empire's ideology already exists inside of the Republic during the war.
Specifically with like Tarkin and his ideology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if it necessarily like. Sorry, I'm not. Well, the original wording of the question was what?
Oh, does this arc make the Republic feel fundamentally different from the future Empire or uncomfortably similar?
I mean, I feel like it makes it feel uncomfortably similar because we've got someone right here in front of us that has like the ideology of the Empire already in them.
Mm.
And it's just like right there in your face. But I could also see an argument, and I do believe that you could go back to the Old Republic or the High Republic, you know, or the New Republic after the Empire, and find people with a similar ideology within, you know, within their ranks. You know, so like I don't think that ideology is all of a sudden unique and, you know, right here in your face type of thing. It just shows that there are people in the Republic that believe in the ideologies of the Empire, the philosophies of the Empire, and that's just kind of putting it right in front of us to show it. But I mean, I feel like it was always there even before the Clone Wars. You know, it was you're going to have people who think like that and believe that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like you with I mean, a prejudice against French people. It's like it's already existing elsewhere. Just another one of them.
Listen, man, I'm not the only one, okay? There's other people out there. We have meetings, all right? Leave me alone. See, I would ask this question, but you said earlier that this episode's not fresh in your mind, so you probably don't have one. This is basically like a
Go ahead
higher
and ask
load
it.
type of
Go
one.
ahead
But
and ask it. If I don't know, I'll make something up.
which scene in the arc is the most underrated?
The one with Anakin and Tarkin.
Which one?
The one on a ship.
Right there at the end when they're leaving and they don't.
The one where they're in space. The one where they're at around the space around the Citadel.
See, here's the thing. When you first said the one with Anakin and Tarkin, my mind went to a specific scene, and then you kept going, and I was like, "Yeah, he's definitely giving me some bullshit."
Yeah. I do have the scene, like I do have a few scenes in my head, but I don't remember what happens in them. I have this distinct one of Tarkin and Anakin kind of talking, and like Tarkin is like ahead of him a little bit, like in their placement, and he's like saying something, and I want to say that Anakin makes a remark about it, but yeah, I don't freaking nothing.
Yeah.
It's just the image.
Well, the scene that my mind went to when you first said that, which is, I think, the scene you're kind of referring to there is, again, Anakin and Tarkin are talking because, like, in the episode, Anakin and Obi-Wan split up, right? Anakin goes to get Tarkin, or takes Tarkin. Obi-Wan is with Even Piell. And they've like split the group again to keep the Nexus coordinates safe. And like Anakin and Tarkin, I think with Ahsoka as well, are walking through like some old tunnels or something, like old, yeah, tunnels to like get out, to get to like the pickup rendezvous spot. And that's where we see Tarkin talking about like the ideologies and believing the Jedi shouldn't be leading the war, and being favored by the Chancellor and all that kind of stuff. And that's where we see some of the difference in views between Anakin and Tarkin, but also that's where we see Anakin kind of making some comments along the lines of like, well, the Jedi aren't willing to go far enough to win the war. Sometimes, I see this, and sometimes I believe that the Jedi shouldn't be leading the war, and so that's where we see some of the similarities in their views, but we also see some of the differences as well.
I just had a thought while you were talking. And I'll be real honest, I think I heard 50% of what you said. The thought was that it would be a really fun... You froze. I'm going to wait. Hold on. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I think it'd be a fun premise if we were to take, let's say, 3 topics, 3 different media that neither of us have seen, or 3 things that somehow like neither of us have done anything with. We have a third friend who basically gives each of us 2 of them we watch and 2 of them we go to talk about, but the third one we have absolutely no idea. Like, we have not seen it. And then the goal is in the podcast to have a discussion about all 3 items, and we have to figure out which one the other person has no idea what they're talking about. And so, like, because just now it's like we're talking there, that needs some, like, to be refined. But, like, the idea that, like...
So, like, you have, like, movies 1, 2, and 3.
You're asking me questions about this where it's like, I haven't seen it in forever, so, like, the exact scene, I don't know.
Right.
But I'm, like, trying to come up with something. Obviously, I was doing it more of, like, a clearly I haven't seen it kind of approach. But, yeah, like, actually trying would be fun.
You're saying, like, we have movies 1, 2, and 3. I watch movies 1 and 2. You watch movie 2 and 3 type of thing. And then
pretty much. But then we have a discussion as if we've both seen all 3, and we have to figure out, it's like, I don't think you've actually seen this, like that kind of thing. But I'm thinking of how we would distinguish that, and that would be like I don't know. Or I just stop rewatching the episodes and I have to try to actually have a discussion against it. No,
but
or just every now and then I do that, and then you have to tell me if I've seen the episodes recently or not. I don't know. It could be fun.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I saw 2 questions on here that I had. And I just have to bring them up because I thought they were kind of stupid.
Okay.
Questions. And I just found some comedy in them. Number 1 was Ahsoka actually the key to the entire mission succeeding? And the answer to that is yes. Like it's right there in the first episode of the arc. The only reason they get into the Citadel is because Ahsoka tagged along, because they weren't planning on a ray shield blocking the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a small air vent that she had to crawl through because she was the only one that could fit through the air vent.
Yeah.
And so it's like...
Now that I actually remember. So, and I fully agree.
Yeah, it's just like... That's such a dumb question, because the answer is just obvious. For anybody that's seen the arc at least one time, the answer is obviously yes, because of that one scene. Otherwise, the whole mission falls apart and they don't succeed. And then the other one was, where'd it go? There it was. It was the Nexus route information worth the cost of the mission? And I personally think that's kind of a dumb question, but your thoughts?
Well, it was. I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of a dumb question because they did all the risks to get the information. That's the whole kind of premise of the episode. It's like this is essential. I mean, yeah, they lost some people, Echo being one of them, but like I think the whole framing of the episodes are the cost of this,
Yeah.
the cost of obtaining very essential information, kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like, well, with that, yes.
Well, and my thing too is if you look at the people who died in this arc, yes, Echo is tragic, but that's because we have a connection to Echo because we've seen him in previous episodes, right?
Right.
And like as the viewers, you root for him, him and like say Fives and Rex and Cody and other specific clones, because we've seen them through multiple episodes. We've gotten to know them. So yes, for us the viewer, it's tragic that Echo dies here. But in the grand scheme of things, it's one clone, right? Yes, you have some other like unnamed clones or a quick throw out there one named clone. Where was it? I had the name. It's the clone when they're climbing the cliffs to get to that door to initially get in, and he like loses his grip and falls and hits the mine and dies. I'm trying to find, like, it's a quick little throwaway name of this, clone trooper number 5, but like, there it is, Charger, right? It's, in the grand scheme of things, and also for the viewers, it's just one clone. We've never seen this clone before.
Yeah.
Right? The biggest, like, death that would have any sort of real impact within the universe is Even Piell, but Jedi are dying in the Clone Wars, pretty consistently. It's not like Even Piell is like a Master Yoda or an Anakin, or a Mace Windu. Yes, Even Piell sits on the council, right? So he is a high-ranking Jedi within the Order, but he's not the Grand Master. He's not the chosen one, And so it's like, truthfully, if you compare the losses in this episode to this vital information that we're told could sway the war for whichever side gets it, 12 deaths, I'll say. Probably not even 12, because I don't even know if there was that many clone troopers there. Until they link up with Tarkin and Even Piell. But like, let's just say 20 deaths, right? Let's just go over the top with it. 20 deaths, one Jedi being in that 20 deaths for this vital information that is going to give the Republic this massive edge in the war. Yeah, that's worth it. Now if they lost like an entire Starfleet, like tens of thousands of clones, 12 Jedi, like these tactical minds, it's a different story. But they didn't really lose anybody vital to the Republic, vital to the war effort in this. And they got the information. Well, I have a couple questions here, but I don't know how good they're going to be for the episode.
Thanks for joining.
Since you're not...
We'll see you next time. Bye. Go ahead.
No, there's a couple questions here. Like which clone moment in the arc is the most emotional to me? That's like Echo's death, right? I feel like that's the only like real big clone moment that was emotional within the arc.
Yeah, because I mean the other one that you mentioned, that was just kind of formatted right off the bat as oh, this is risky. It wasn't like an emotional death, really.
Well, and the other clone death that comes to my mind in this episode, it's another like throwaway clone where they don't like give us a name, we haven't seen him before, where climbing they're like climbing through the vents or whatever, and what's his name, the warden guy, I can't think of his name now, of the episode, the dude in charge. I just saw it on here. And I have to find it, because otherwise it's just gonna bother me. Asi Sobek. He like activates one of the defenses of the Citadel and starts closing all these, like, I guess blast doors would be the best way to describe them. Like within the air vent, and the one clone like can't climb through it all the way, and like the one above him shuts before we see him like cut in half. Like that's the other like bit. I say big, but like that's the other clone death within the arc that comes to my mind when thinking about this one, because that's definitely a super dark way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh gosh. With that too, though, I find that because that clone has two or three other troopers around him trying to like help pull him up, right? And when you, because I'm pretty sure Commander Cody's there, and when we see Cody later, there's no blood on his armor. There's no blood on any of the other clones' armors. Now, granted, it's a cartoon, right? But I'm just thinking like this arc could have, if you did like a live action horror themed Star Wars, movie, say, or even just turn these live action, go super dark with it. Like I could see they get out of those vents and you just see Cody just like splattered blood across his armor from this one trooper getting cut in half right in front of him. That just makes me think as well of the season 7 with Maul, when he pulls on the one clone's arm as the blast doors are closing in season 7. Yeah. Yep. That's what my mind goes to as well when I think of that one. It's just like super dark and brutal things done to clones.
Yeah. But shown off screen, because this is a kid's show.
Yeah. Here's a question for you.
Okay. Maybe we end with this one. Is that a good one to end on?
I mean, if you, I don't know if you had one to end on. I don't know if this is necessarily a closer, but I find this interesting because this is obviously the Citadel, the name of it, the whole like climbing past the mines to get up to the main door and all. But then if we go back a little further in the TV show to the Domino Squad training on Camino, and they have the Citadel training simulation that they have to do, and that's like their big final test.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a correlation there where like that test is supposed to simulate something close to this Citadel, or do you think that's just like a coincidence in the naming? Because like in that episode for Domino Squad, like it's got like the blaster turrets, right, that they climb up to get to the top to finish the the simulation, and it's kind of, there's some similarities in my mind to that and like climbing past the mines, within this arc. What are your thoughts? Is there any correlation?
Well, now
there?
I'm wondering. I don't have any immediate thoughts, but I have more questions, because now I'm wondering if there is a parallel, and if there is, both concern Echo. So is there some sort of foreshadowing in the training? Maybe, like I don't that's why I don't have the answers of, but that's where
Yeah.
my brain's going. So I don't know, but I didn't really draw that connection. It could just be a naming scheme thing, just nothing really, you know, um, related at all. But
Yeah,
that's interesting.
because like I've got Wikipedia pulled up here, and this is why I was thinking about this because one of the lines here, it says the clone trooper training facility in Topoka City on the extragalactic planet Camino uses a Citadel training or a Citadel challenge training course named after the prison, but I wonder if there's more to it than that.
Huh.
Because again, in the training simulation, right on Camino, they, if you watch that episode, Domino Squad comes up and then they move into cover and they're in like a courtyard with the turrets shooting down and the
Yeah.
simulation droids coming at them. Well, in this arc, we see like when in Echo's death, he is going for a shuttle in a courtyard with turrets blasting down at them.
Well, that's what and
Right.
that's the scene that I'm thinking of because I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I'm wondering if. Yeah. Ah,
And it's also to now that I'm thinking about it, I almost want to go back and watch and have them like side by side.
yeah.
Like the initial training where Domino Squad fails the Citadel challenge and the scene where Echo moves to try and get to the shuttle. And I wonder if, like, if you put them side by side, I wonder if there's similar movements of the troopers,
Hmm.
trying to get to the shuttle, Echo wherever he is during the training simulation on Camino. I wonder if there's a similar layout as well of like barriers or things like that. Because again, someone like Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, like they don't tend to put things in there that are just coincidence. There tends to be some connection in some way, more so than just a name, right? Like
Right.
I feel like there tends to be other either foreshadowing or just like similarities past. Oh, Citadel training, Citadel prison. I feel like that's not
Yeah.
in line with how they tend to do things.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something I'd also like to take a look at side by side because yeah, that scene specifically is in my mind, and I'm
Yeah.
seeing at least mentally a parallel, but I don't know for sure. So
Yeah.
hmm,
Interesting.
yeah. Well, I got nothing else other than things to do. So I don't know if you're good with being done or anything you want to close out with.
I was just taking a last look to see if there was just another question that would be like good to ask, or if there was something else. But excuse me. I guess I'll close on this final question then. Within the grand scheme of the Clone Wars TV show and everything that we see and everything that happens, the arcs, all that good stuff, where does this arc fall and say, maybe not a specific place within like a ranking, but overall feel for the arc, like it, dislike it? Is it up there and say like your top, I don't know, 5 or 10? No?
I'm thinking of a lot of other ones, and I'm thinking this one's probably like middle of the line. There's like, so firstly, when I'm thinking of good storyline arcs, I think I have to set aside probably 52% of the Clone Wars. And then I'm left with these actual ones that I'm like that come to mind and that I'm
Yeah.
thinking of, and then there's another however many that's set aside because it's not, I don't like it. This one just kind of middle of the line for me. I'm thinking of like there's a lot more. I mean the Pong Krell arc. There's all of season 7 minus the twins or the sisters. There's Jar Jar crap.
Oh God.
There's stuff with Gaston. That's off. Wasn't that his name? The little dude. Remember the droid arc where he's like
Oh, Meeber Gaskin. Gascon.
I don't remember his name.
Something like that. Yeah.
Meeber Gas.
Is that 4-episode droid mission arc?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Gascon. Yeah, like with a C. Colonel Meeber Gascon. Yeah. I couldn't think of his name, but I knew it was something like that. Anyway, that's off to the side. There's, let's see. There's a lot. But I don't think that this one is, I like this one. I don't think it's like top. I'd really have to sit through and name them out. It might be borderline top 10, but not not towards the top.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, not bad, not good. Well, good.
One thing
I don't know.
One thing I've come to realize with going through the Clone Wars with you and just talking about them and all that kind of stuff is, now to preface, Clone Wars is still, the entirety is still up there in like I would say my top 3 or 4 Star Wars of all time, right? Mm-hmm. But going through and doing this podcast with you and all, it has made me realize the Clone Wars has such high highs and such low lows.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's not a bad show, but now rewatching it, I think this is my third time. I would say half third time because some of them I haven't seen still, but in like a while. But like I watched it all the way through once, and then watched kind of here and there, and now sometimes I'm revisiting them. But what I've kind of, it's not that it's a bad show. There's a lot of things in it that are just kind of like, they feel like filler or they feel like something I don't care about. But then there's such high, good arcs. That's what stands out to me. But then looking through, it's just like, there are some low lows.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's the variety because it's not bad overall, but it's almost like there's a lot of crap to sift out to get to the high highs.
Yeah. And
whether it be mediocre, flat out not interesting, or okay.
Well, because you said like, when like sifting through the Clone Wars, you have to like set aside like 52% of it, right? I think you said, and I was like, man, that is just like, God, that's just so true. There's just like,
well, yeah. When I said it, I was just throwing out a number, but then after I said it, I'm thinking through. I'm like, dang, that actually is kind of accurate.
Yeah.
So
because it's like I say just about anything with Jar Jar, get it out of here. Right. The only exception I make to that is I'm trying to think what I can't think of where it is within the entire show, but it's the Anakin is captured, so Padme goes and gets the Gungans' help to capture Grievous, so they can do an exchange of Anakin and General Grievous. And it's like, in that, it's like, yes, Jar Jar's involved, but you have like a pretty cool action scene between some of the Gungan warriors and General Grievous, and there's some cool moments in that. But it's like, other than that, I can't really think of a single episode or arc with Jar Jar that I would say is good. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So like you have to get rid of all of that, and then a lot of like the Senate stuff I don't care about, so I can just push that to the
I
side.
didn't even mention those.
I can just push that to the side. But then you have some stuff, and I'll say like, I think this arc is up there for me. This arc would easily be, I would say, top 10. Might even get into my top 5. But yeah, it's just like you just said like you said, you just kind of like threw out 52% as a number, and I was like, man, Why? Why does that sound so like accurate?
Yeah. Well, that's like, so with that, and we can maybe trail off, but um, I think I told you when I was watching this. So I watched it all the way through, and then I rewatched it with my wife, and then now I've been half revisiting it when we
Mm,
cover it. And when we watched it together, and we were finally done with it, she was kind of like, "Yeah, okay." Like there, and she acknowledged there's some really good parts, but then she said she feels like she liked Rebels more.
mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it from like, I don't think that the highs of the Clone Wars are surpassed by Rebels. But when you look at the consistency of Rebels, it does feel like there's not the same amount of like
Yeah.
quote unquote throwaway episode. It seems a little more cohesive. Which granted, you're not
Yeah.
covering an entire war and several generals and different storylines during it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
can see that.
Rebels does not have as low of lows, and it does not have as high. Like you said, like Rebels is just more consistent all the way
Yeah.
through. But I agree. Like the highs of Rebels don't, in my opinion, don't come close to the highs of Clone Wars.
No.
I don't. I don't think I would go so far as saying that the highs of Clone Wars are the only thing I can think to surpass any high of any of the, like the highest point of Clone Wars would be some of the stuff in Revenge of the Sith.
Mm.
Like the Anakin versus Obi-Wan, in my mind, will always be number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just because of all the emotions and the action sequence, all that kind of stuff. Like that is just number one for me, hands down, period. But other than that, I don't think there's anything in any of the other movies, any of the other TV shows that I've seen that beats the highs of Clone Wars. Like, but then again, there's plenty of stuff that beats like the middle of Clone Wars. There's plenty of stuff that
Yeah.
beats the lows of Clone Wars. But yeah.
Yeah. To me, I'm thinking through as well. And I'm trying to pick apart whether or not it's the events themselves or how they're done. Because I think of some of the monologues in Andor. You hear Mon Mothma's speech literally call Palpatine a disease that needs to be eradicated, basically. Or monster. That's more so. She's like, in the monster at the center of it all is Palpatine. And that's when they like shut everything down and they're like trying to kill her. But that and like some of the, but that's just like, I think that's, I mean, that does stick out to me, but I don't know if it's so much the events or the implications and how well it's executed. Which I guess that no, that's top for me. But I think different criteria.
Yeah.
But anywho,
I think that just about concludes our coverage of the Citadel arc.
yep, bye. You got to surprise them because if you start indicating that you're trailing off, retention graphs show that they start leaving.
Deuces.